Welcome back to the bathroom. What we're going to work on now is taking out our toilet. So you can do this for a few days. If you need to replace the toilet, go ahead and take it out. If you're ever doing flooring, it's best to take out the toilet and then replace it. And so for us, that's our case. This is a great toilet. But we're going to be doing some tile flooring in here, and so it's much better and it looks better if you take up the toilet, put the flooring underneath, and then reinstall the toilet. So kind of stinks because it's a lot of extra work, but I think in the end it's definitely a much better result. So first thing is, we were already downstairs, we already turned off the water and all that, but there is another shut-off valve here. And so what I'm going to do is turn this shut-off valve, and then I'm going to flush the toilet and eventually get all the water out of the toilet. So I'm going to show you guys what's going on in here. We got all this water in there that needs to come out, and then we have the water in here that needs to come out. So we got to drain it. And so first thing is I'm gonna do this shut-off valve down here so no extra water can get into the tank. And now I'm going to flush the toilet. And so you'll be able to see here all this water will go out and will go down, but we'll still be left with some extra water in there. So here we go with the flush. And so we still have a little bit of extra, but notice if I try to flush this, it doesn't flush again. And so that kind of stinks. And so you'll know that you did your shut-off correctly if this doesn't start filling up. That being said, if you're ever in a situation and you clog a toilet and the water keeps running, then look for the shut-off. Hopefully it'll be right down here and you can just turn that off if you're in an emergency. Now we need to go and get this water out. So this is kind of the stinky part, and you really just have to get in there and do it. So get yourself a bucket and a little cup, and you're just gonna scoop this water out. And the tough thing is that there's kind of always going to be water in there. There's this trap that goes around, and water will just stay in there. That doesn't let sewer gas into your house, but when you're taking the toilet up, it traps water in there, which will kind of leak out and kind of be annoying. So just get in there and get it done. If you want to, wear gloves. Technically, this isn't really dirty water. Your toilet might be dirty, but this water came from this bowl, and this water came from wherever you get your water. So the water's clean, but the toilet is not. And so if you have like a siphon or something like that, that might be useful. If you got a straw, you can suck it all out, or a pump, but most people don't have that. So this is about as much water as I can get out now, and the rest we'll just have to just stay in there, and hopefully we won't slosh it around everywhere. Okay, and from here we've got most of our water turned off. We have our water shut off, and now we can go about actually disconnecting the toilet. And so if you can see right down here, this is a cap that covers the screw. There's a bolt down here, and so I lifted that up, and now as you can see there's one on each side, and this is basically a bolt that comes up and then a nut that goes around it. And so these are very tough to get off, and so as you can see there's some yellow orange spray here. That's not urine. I actually went about an hour or two ago and sprayed it with some rust remover to hopefully unstick the bolt. And so this is one of the toughest parts of removing the toilet, is dealing with these bolts. If you're lucky, they just come right off, but a lot of different things can happen. And so when I always prepare for this project, always bring along maybe a hacksaw, or if you have a multi-tool, you can bring that along. Anything that can cut metal in a confined space, because there is a good chance that you'll have to cut these bolts off. But let's give it a try, see what happens. So right now I've got a 9/16 wrench, open-ended box end wrench, and you could use an adjustable wrench if you wanted. This I just know is the perfect fit, and hopefully it'll come off, and we're doing well so far. So you got to be careful of not stripping these bolts back here, because it can make your life really, really tough. And we're getting lucky. This one's going to come off pretty easy except for the end. And so like I said, I really think it does help to spray that rust breaker, WD-40, anything that will lubricate this nut and these threads and knock some rust off. All right, good to go. Okay, so now I'm gonna get this backside here. Same thing, I sprayed this one up really good. Like it is gonna come right off again. Okay, and there's another one. And that's pretty much it. And so now you should be able to go ahead and that's really all that's holding down your toilet. The last thing we have to do is disconnect the water supply. And so as you can see in here, there's a little connection for your water supply, and it's located right under here. A lot of times you can get a lot of the excess water leaking out, and so I always bring along a small bucket so that I can put under there and catch any of the water that falls out. It's kind of a tough area because this, even being a small bucket, it's tough to fit that in here. So I'm going to go over here and I'm going to disconnect this. So what's nice about this one is hopefully you won't need a wrench. It's just typically a plastic connector. On some of the newer ones, some of the older ones have metal ones. And like I said, there might be some water that drips out, but in our case, we did a good job of draining everything. So now we can go ahead and now this is where we can go and actually lift the toilet up. All right, so we're almost ready to take the toilet off. We turned the water off, we disconnected the supplies, we flushed the toilet, and then we drained as much as we could. One extra step our film team brought up was you can actually just use a plunger, and we talked about this S-trap right here, is it holds a little bit of water in there. And so it's best to remove that as good as you can. So what's nice is if we get a plunger down there, instead of sucking the water back up, hopefully it can push as much of the water down and out of our way. So if we get a plunger in here, we can hopefully push a lot more of the water back through the trap, and it'll give us a little bit less water to deal with. It's probably not going to get all the water, but it can get a lot of it. And so now we really just need to lift up the toilet. We already removed these bolts down here, and so it should be lifting it up and then out of the way. And so the biggest thing here is it is heavy. If you need help, definitely get some help. So this is a really good area to reach right back here, because this is kind of where most of the weight is. This is kind of the center of the gravity of the toilet. And so I should be able to lift right here, and it'll slide off those bolts, and then I'll move it over. Another good thing that people like to do is once they have it up and out, is they actually put the base in a trash bag. And so this, if any water does slip out while you're moving it around the house or wherever you're going to store it, it'll get in this trash bag. So this is the part where you'll probably definitely need some help getting it in the trash bag. Off screen, we're going to put this in the trash bag, and then we're going to move it out of the house. So here we go. People kind of waddle with it. So now I can set it down, get it in the trash bag, and then move it out of the house. Alright, so now it's time to get a little bit dirty. So as you can see down here, we have what was left over from the toilet. So they did a good job. They clearly removed the toilet, then installed their floor, and then installed the toilet over top of that. But now you'll notice this ring right here. And so it's not poop. I know it looks like poop. And a lot of people can first think there's poop. This is actually just wax. And so there's a wax ring that seals the toilet. And so none of the gases or water can leak out. And so basically you just squish that gasket, this wax ring in here. But every time you take a toilet up, you need to replace this wax seal. So now we're just gonna get in there with our trusty old spatula and putty knife and scrape it really clean. If you're gonna replace the flange, which you really can't see right now, then you don't have to clean it up too much. But if you're gonna use the existing flange, then you'll actually need to clean this up really good. So we gotta take these bolts out as well, clean it up really good. So here I go. Taking off, this is the rubber part of the wax seal. Oh yeah, that's nice. Keep your trash can close by. And then as you can see here, I'm just scraping the wax out. You don't want to let anything fall into this hole. That could clog up your system. And so after we're done here now, what you can see is the exposed ring right here. So this is our toilet flange. This one I think is just made out of PVC. They make them out of metal or brass. What's nice is this one shouldn't rust. And as you can see, the wax is just caked into every little crevice and little hole. So I'm gonna clean it up, real good. Oh yeah. Nice. Keep the trash can close by and clean it. And so after you're done with this and you feel like you've done a good job, it's always good to get a rag, a cover, some tape, a bucket, and cover this hole. You don't want debris falling in there. You don't want tools falling in there. Like I said, it could clog your system, or you could just lose something that is important, and I don't think you want to go and get it. So the last part here is taking up these bolts. And usually I get a tool for this one just because they're kind of stuck in here. So just kind of wrench them out. And there we have our little bolt. And then the other one. Oh, there we go. So off camera, I think we're going to do a little bit more cleanup. But that's pretty much the basics. Then we'll remove this floor right here, and we'll be good for our flooring project.
Thanks for watching our video. Go ahead and hit the subscribe button so you can get updated on all our newest videos. Also, go ahead and click the links below so you can see our social media profiles as well as our website.